Are you a business owner, artist, model, or savvy entrepreneur? Then we'd like to welcome you to Apex Couture magazine, the new wave of publications with budget-friendly advertising packages to fit the need for your brand. 100% Black owned. As part of the new Black media, we also cover the latest music, entertainment news, fashion, politics, and important Black social issues with common sense commentary in a hot new Couture conversations column where we interview celebrities and prominent people we believe you should know. All of this goes down at www.apexcouturemag.com. APEXCOTUREMAG. Contact us at apexcouturemag@gmail.com or 321-947-4705. Head over to apexcouturemag.com and experience pure Black excellence today.
Hey, what's happening, good people? This is your man, Antoine Wright, for Couture Conversations at Apex Couture Magazine. You already know, if I'm talking to somebody, I believe this is someone you should know. So I'm going to let the beautiful lady introduce herself to the people.
Hi, my name is Shronda Armstrong. I'm based in Louisiana. I'm a native of New Orleans, and I started the Go Queen brand in March of 2019. And I'm also the host of the QChatPodcast, and I'm also a blogger and a mompreneur. It's nice to meet you guys.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So how's everything going? I understand, not too long ago, you guys had the storm. Are everything going good right now?
It's still an adjustment. Obviously, New Orleans was hit pretty hard in other areas. Where I'm at, my particular spot was blessed. Thank God I had like minor damage and everything. But it's crazy living in this hurricane season. Like we actually had a tropical storm today. We're getting effects from Hurricane Nicholas that hit Houston. So it's like,
I live in Orlando, Florida, so yeah, we you know what I'm saying, we're so accustomed to hurricane, we have hurricane parties. Yeah, that's a Florida thing. Hurricane coming, everybody be getting together, you know what I'm saying, see where they gonna bunker down at, and have parties. And some people get hit hard, some people come out on top. I've even seen people here in Orlando. I seen a guy stand out and lean with the wind with his arms open like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a sport up here. So some of the let's talk about of what you do, because I've been watching, I've been checking you out. So let's talk about the podcast, QChatPodcast. Talk about that.
So with the QChat, I originally started Go Queen selling message tees. My first shirt started from a Facebook post, just encouraging women, not to settle, that they were the privilege, the prize, and the package. So I had like a light bulb moment to put it on a t-shirt. And the next shirt I thought of was just simple term, go love yourself. And I was like, well, I want to figure out a way to let people know like the message behind the shirts, why I'm telling women to respect themselves and love themselves. So it was another light bulb moment. A few months later, boom, do a podcast. Everyone does podcasts.
Yes.
When I was driving my car, I would always throw on a podcast. So I was like, I'll start one. I had no plan at all when I started the QChat. I was like, I'm just going to chat with some friends. We just going to talk about stuff.
I can relate to that.
Right.
Because that is why I do this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Having a magazine, owning the publication, and then having access to people and interviewing people and stuff. And I'm like, okay, who's going to do it? And it's like, okay. So, I had no choice but to do it. But, the thing about the podcast, I grew up making music and I grew up loving music, everything about music. But the difference was we had a little more substance in the music. So, whereas we used to turn to music, do you think that's like the podcast, especially for I'll be 40 in November. Those my age. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to figure out why we do that. Is that why you do that, throwing a podcast instead of music when you're riding in your car?
It depends. I'm like, I'm old school too. I'm 44. So like, I have a particular taste with music. So current music, not that I have a thing against it, I like a blend of music. So like for me, it's simple to just throw on a podcast, if I have a playlist going.
yes. I you know what I'm saying? Because I do it too, and I was wondering why, I was like, why is this? Because I usually be, when I was younger, I had to have the music blasting. Now I will, I have a podcast on. So I'm glad to see that, it's the information. I believe it's information. It's straightforward. You don't have to, you ain't got to dig for it. The information is just being fed to you. They just, people just talking with common sense. Because I think that's what's needed. The common sense.
Right.
What happened? What happened to that? Because, man,
right.
So talk about some of the things you talk about. You empower women. Talk about some of the things you like to do in some of the conversations you guys are having to empower the women in whatever it is that you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, QChat stands for Queens, obviously. So with the QChat, same thing. Like I like meat, I like substance. So we don't really, I'm not gonna lie, we don't do like the pop culture thing. I'm not knocking that for anybody. I just wanted like intelligent conversations. So the whole purpose of the topics is to make sure someone pulls some substance when they listen,
Yes.
So we talk about things that, well, number one, I like to break stigmas, and we talk about things that I think are much needed. We talk about mental health. We do talk about self-empowerment. We talk about entrepreneurship. We live in a world now where everybody's hustling, trying to figure out how to make a consistent amount of money on their own. So I think it's important. So I have a lot of entrepreneurs on the show. Mm-hmm. I do have entertainers on the show too sometimes, which I love talking to them. Even when I do have the entertainers though, we still talk about something about self-love or just something they may have overcome. I've had an actress on in the past and she mentioned how she was homeless once, just something to really inspire people that they can get over things and overcome stuff. Like right now we live in a time where every day is like a new blow. So people like really need something to like pull themselves up, and right now a lot of people have gone through some struggles, so I want this show to really be something where you can listen to, and once it's over, you're like, wow, I learned something. Oh, I never thought about it that way. That's when I feel like you're really making an impact.
When you're saying when you're saying all that, the quickest term that's coming to my head is solution oriented. You see what I'm saying? To try to come up with solutions, because a lot of times we can sit around and we can point these things out every day. We have to come up. We know what these issues are.
Yeah.
Right. What we gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Right. By now, if in the information age, all of the information, you have to sift through a lot. You do have to sift through a lot of false information and everything. But I go back to common sense. Common sense will take you a long way, man. And we I think as a society, we've gotten so far from that. I don't know if it's the internet or social media, because me having kids, I'm married with kids, and seeing what they have access to that we didn't have access to. You see what I'm saying? Like the closest we had was a little chat line where you hit the little number on the phone. You like, hey, well, who in this room? You know what I'm saying? Like that was it. But now you got information, and it's zooming, but you have to sift through so much. So the mind of the kids is what's at stake, really, because we know better. But I be having to tell my children, you know what I'm saying? I be having to tell my children. So I think what you do is definitely important, especially for women. I think mental health. That's something that was, I know when I was growing up, that, we wasn't, if you had a mental health problem, you ain't go see about that. You know what I mean? Our people was old school. We wasn't no, see, now we take it, talk about the importance of that. Cause I want to, definitely hone in on mental health and talk about that.
Well, one of the reasons I like to talk about mental health a lot is because I grew up in an environment, from church. So like when you come in from the church environment, and I think that's the case for a lot of African Americans with our upbringings, you're not allowed to say you're depressed or sad because it's to go pray about it. And I definitely am not knocking that. But sometimes you got to go a step further. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're having all these issues, sometimes you need to speak to a professional. And that's a taboo thing within the Black community. Therapy, mental health. Back in the day, if you say you have any type of issues, you get labeled as, oh, well, that person's crazy.
That person,
And it's really disgusting, actually.
Yeah,
so
it is.
That's one of the things I feel like if we talk about it more, it can help somebody. It could save a life. Like September is Suicide Awareness Month. And statistically, a lot of young African Americans are taking their lives. But mind you, a lot of people in our community, we're afraid to talk to somebody or admit that we're having some issues because we're concerned with the stigma we may get. And that's a real unfortunate space to, because lives are being lost because they don't have anyone to talk to. They're not receiving help. A lot of these issues can be prevented. So I've had a lot of mental health professionals on the show. Last June, after the whole George Floyd situation, I had a month dedicated to male guests on the show, because the show, and don't get me wrong, I do have male audience listeners, but it was important for me to have nothing but Black males on the show for that month. And I had a Black male therapist. That's like a taboo. A lot of times people think of a therapist, you're thinking of a stuffy old white man, So I had a down-to-earth Black male therapist on this show. I've had another young woman who's a young therapist,
I love them too. I love Black therapists because, they're relatable and can go into it when in certain moments, go into layman's terms and say, listen, look here, this is what, you see what I'm saying? And break it down to you. And that makes you comfortable. You know what I mean? Because I did marriage counseling. That was my first time even going to counseling. And you find through therapist counseling, you'll find that you have some issues, man. People be walking around thinking they just I ain't nothing wrong with me. It's them. You. And you'll be, one of the things I live by, not to teach my kids, is you take you everywhere you go. So if there's an issue and a problem within every relationship you have, or with everywhere you go, then the common denominator is who? You. Obviously, you taking it everywhere with you, so you need to be looking in that mirror. And Michael Jackson told us that in the 80s. See, people laugh when I bring that up, but if you think about it, if you start with the man in the mirror, and if everybody was to do that, to assess themselves and pick themselves apart and fix those things, the world would be a better place. Because
you're right.
You know what I mean? Everything is, it's you, it's this person, it's that person. It can never be me. I'm perfect, and I think that may be another thing though. You think there's a lot of because you said there's fear around the stigma, but do you think that there's fear of people finding out who they truly are?
Definitely. And I've said that in a lot of shows. Sometimes it's easier to stay in your stink, in your mud. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because it takes work to get to a different level in life. No matter what you're trying to do, it takes work. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's easier. And I think that's why sometimes a lot of people, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. Oh, I've been divorced 20 times. It was all them. It's easier to the person, because once you start doing the work, you start saying, oh, well, you know what? I do have a bad attitude.
Yes.
I do have a terrible mindset. Wait, you know what? I could find better ways to communicate.
Yes.
In relationships. And that's all of us. None of us are perfect. And you're right with that Michael Jackson analogy. I may have to steal it, because that's right. Yeah. Everything starts with you. And that's one of the main purposes with the show, because we say that a lot. You have to go deep within before you get to any space. And that's not saying that other people may not have wronged us. I mean, come on, life is life. But no matter what situation you're in, you do have to do the actual self work. That's just life, because our mindsets control how we behave, right? Yes. So I say a lot about positive mindset. At one point, I had a job I didn't like. I would literally wake up and be like, oh, I'm stuck. I'm not going to be able to leave. So I was in like a bad funk every day. Yeah. I had to do this self-reflection, change my thinking. Right. Nobody, it had to start with me. So that's any of us. Sometimes we don't want to do the work. You have to do the work to have the self-reflection, to be successful in anything in life, to be more successful in your marriage, to be more successful with your friends. If you want to lose weight, you're not going to just wake up in the morning and lose 20 pounds. Yeah, you got physical work. Like, it all starts with us, no matter what. Like, it has to start with us.
Yeah, and you know what? To that point, man, that's like the bottom line with me being, I remember I did time in prison. Yeah, I've been out for what? 11 years, 11 years, almost 12 years. And when I got in, I remember when I first started doing my bid, it was everybody else. It was everybody. I was like, man, this dude, and if she wouldn't have did this, and I'm sitting in prison. And I realized at a certain point, that when that judge was talking, that judge wasn't talking to him, or that judge was talking to me. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, it don't matter who did, that judge was talking to you. So, I by the time I did my little 2 years, you know what I'm saying? I had a clean slate, because I had to realize that, anybody that did you wrong, you got to look at what you did in that situation. And a lot of times I was wrong and I went to extremes. So, then I realized, dude, now you can kind of dictate how things are going to go now. You see what I'm saying? Because all of this trouble followed you. You can stop that. And ever since then, I did, and I became an entrepreneur. And because I figured I ain't no good at working for nobody. God, oh Lord have mercy. I tried. I worked my whole life, but being here in the South, well, we got some white folk that want to talk to you and handle you all kind of ways, and it just it ain't in me. My mom and dad been married. They had been over 40 years. They still together. My dad raised a man. He had 3 boys. Mm-hmm. I've never seen my dad allow nobody to handle him like that. You see what I'm saying? So it's not in me. So, I'll respect you. But man, you ain't gonna be talking to me crazy. Man, and I'm gonna tell you, I done had some crazy situations. That make you. Yeah. So, but is that, that's a thing now too, like those issues as Black people. Do you have any recollection or what do you think about the effects that racism has on us?
Well, I'm from the South too, obviously in Louisiana, and then where I live at, I'm in a smaller town now. I don't live in New Orleans, I live in another town, and I experience all types of racism. That's one of the reasons I do work for myself, same like you, because I'm like, I feel like certain jobs, and I'm not reaching, but certain jobs, it really is like a form of modern day slavery. You're working for somebody, you got to ask them, when can you be sick? When can you take care of your children? When can you be tired? Yeah. It's like, damn. And then on top of that, you're not being respected. And you're being type of way. So I've experienced a lot of levels of racism. That's another reason why my show really does spotlight African Americans. And it's not because I'm saying, white people can't listen to my show or can't be on a platform. That's really not, I'm not even thinking about that. But my goal is to spotlight us only because we need that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with putting a spotlight on us and showing positive things with us. Well, and I've had that have gone through some terrible things, you know what I'm saying? But they moved on, and just like what you said, imagine if once you got out of your incarceration, if you didn't change your mindset, you know what I'm saying? So that's the point, so that you can overcome anything.
Yes, I saw guys. It was crazy because when I was in prison, I saw dudes I knew that was coming back. I'm looking at them like, because I saw what I was practicing, what I was doing. I was reading everything. I was known for being like that, to the point where in prison, I got a reputation so clean with everybody from the COs down to the inmates that I was able to move around like you know what I mean. It was so weird, you know what I mean. I never got in any fights, you know what I mean. Right. People would they would love to see it, like the OGs and the lifers. I do time with lifers. They would love to see me having books sprawled across my bed. You see what I'm saying? And they would protect me for that. They would protect me. Right. So I saw guys in there. You could see them. They getting locked up in jail, going to the hole. You know what I'm saying? They always doing something stupid. It's like, I'm like, wow. If you doing it, if you in here, you literally in prison, and you still doing, dude, you're gonna love it. You might as well just go ahead and catch your life sentence, because when you go back out there, what you practicing, you coming back in here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I definitely saw a bunch of guys I knew, you know what I mean? And I was glad that I was conscious of that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very easy to get caught up, especially with everything that our youth is being bombarded with, you know.
Oh yeah.
Violence and sex and drugs. Drugs, sex, violence. We were exposed to it. But now they got the internet, and this is just, man, you know what I mean?
And social media is like, you know, that's a huge demise of a lot of things. We didn't have access to that. You know what I'm saying? We didn't grow up with that.
I think, you know, it winds up being a gift and a curse. You know, some of the pros of it, we get to tell our stories now, because that's, you know, going back to what you were saying, how you cover. I mean, I'm lickety black, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna be black first, because no other race of people are apologetic for being their race and nobody apologizes for that. They just do that. They look out for their people. That's what they do. We have to. We gotta always be. I'm not careful, and I'm not gonna walk on eggshells. All that. Well, no, we ain't got to do it. It's everybody, not just here. It's us, y'all. It's us. We're gonna take care of us first, and then we can work with you guys. See, I mean, just like they do. Because if we don't do that, the way things are going now, it's not really looking good for us. You know what I mean? So we have to use our media for us. You know what I'm saying? Because you see what happened when our stories get told.
Right.
They just make up anything.
That our stories get told, and I say this a lot because I'll have like creators on the show, like screenwriters, actors, stuff like that. And just how we portray in the media world, we all have a responsibility. You're a platform, my platform, you know what I'm saying? Like this is a great gift in a sense, because we're taking a good responsibility to bring our stories for people to see us, like to see us in different lights. Some people only have one perception of Black women. Some people have only 1% of Black men. They only see us in one way, Some people don't even realize that we're articulate, that we're educated, that we're creative, like some people really don't know.
And the thing is, what's so good about you having the podcast and us doing things like this, they watch these conversations. Hi everybody, so enjoy the hey, come on in and enjoy the conversation. So they know they know who we are. It's always been the job of the dominant media enterprise, or whatever you want to call them. It's always been the job for them to tell our stories the way they want to tell it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we got an image like that, because I from growing up in the hood here in Orlando, from being in the music industry, we have the most amazing and talented people, and African Americans are just, you know what I mean. And the world the world does. They fought when we move. They move. You see what I'm saying? Everything hot is us, but everybody else eat off that.
Yeah.
Except us. You know what I'm saying? And we are the source. You know what I mean? So I think we definitely right now we're tapping into it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that there's a lot of hope, you know what I'm saying? But the way things are right now, it seems as if things will get worse before it get better. But we have to be prepared. and we have to use these platforms. I'm a realist, you know what I'm saying? But I don't, I still be happy and try to, you got to stay positive, because I don't know, if most of my subscribers know, 2 years ago, I was in the hospital for like 6 months. You know what I'm saying? I had 8 major abdominal surgeries. I had pancreatitis, and it was, I almost died like 4 times. You know what I mean? It was crazy. This was right before COVID. So I got a medical experience. That's another thing. Health. Do you cover health? Because that's something that especially after what I experienced, I realized, we be walking around here, blood pressure be through the roof, and don't even know.
Too. Actually, the episode I released last week, we were talking about plant-based foods, because that's a separate business about to start. Because I know the big controversy now is the vaccine stuff. I don't like to be a part of that conversation, but the only thing that I will say about that is we have to take care of our bodies, no matter what side you fall into. Please take care of your body, because we do have high blood pressure. We do have diabetes. We do have obesity. It's like we got so many other things against us health-wise. And, we got to take the rein on that too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just diet. Sometimes just changing your diet makes a difference. Man. If you don't have time to get to the gym, just change some of your eating habits.
So I want to speak to that. Speaking to the eating habits, that is of the utmost importance. Okay, because I had pancreatitis. They took probably 55% of my pancreas. My pancreas probably ain't but that big. Okay. Wow. Everything, based on my survival and me living after 2019 was me changing my diet. You know how hard that is when you've been groomed and indoctrinated to eat so much messed up food, you know what I'm saying, your whole life. But I do it now. I enjoy it, but I like to speak on that, because it's like, when I found out a lot of the things that were wrong with me, you know what I mean? Especially the blood pressure. That's one of the things that really scared my surgical team, that it scared the whole medical staff and me, because I didn't even know. I didn't even know my blood pressure was like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now I gotta, I'm taking meds for that, but that could have been prevented if I've been eating right my whole life. And those are some of the things that you guys, health is wealth, man. It don't matter how much money. I could have been a billionaire. Didn't matter when I was laid up on that bed. You hear me? When I was laid up on that bed in that hospital, 3 of the months I don't remember, man, what money was gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, get your health together, And I'm enjoying this conversation with you. This is amazing. I like to do, because I do a lot of entertainers, models, and stuff, and I have to curb the conversations to get a lot of the meat out of it. Right. But this is good. I really enjoy having this conversation. I was going to your page because I saw something on your page. Let me see. Excuse me for a second. I wanted to touch on before, because I usually look how long it's going. Y'all see that? Because I usually don't be going this long, but I'm enjoying having a good time up in here. All right, hold on. I gotta go to your page. Okay. Because I saw some. I don't know if I saw some food. Or it looked like some healthy food.
You saw it on my Instagram.
Yes. Talk to me about that. Since we were talking about health, what was that?
Well, what I'm entering in is plant-based soul food. So, for example, I've just been enjoying experimenting with plant-based foods, eliminating meat. Now, I'm not saying I'm a vegetarian or a vegan. I'm not, but I am learning to really change my eating habits. So there's a lot of times where we can substitute meat, and I'm not one of those people that like force people. Like, I know some people that are vegans and they're like, get away from me. Like, I don't want to hear you going on and on about these animals. You know, like, I'm just saying to each his own. But I do feel like in the time that we're living in now, we have to take control of our health. If these past 2 years haven't taught us anything, is we got to take control of our health. So I have been experimenting with plant-based foods, like making ribs with no meat, right?
Yes.
Using cauliflower. I've never eaten so much cauliflower in my life than I've eaten in the past few months, and I actually enjoy it.
Yes.
You know, been exploring different things with foods, you know, education as well too. Just learning about certain foods that we eat a lot, learning how some of it really is toxic to our bodies. Same thing, like you mentioned, having pancreatitis. I need to get a colonoscopy actually in the next few weeks. And I'm learning about different things, how it affects our health, certain dyes. You know, red dye is really bad. And I'm not,
what is it called? The what is it called? The R20, what is it called? I'm thinking about it. It's in Hawaiian Punch. It's poison. It's banned in certain countries.
In children and stuff like that. Like, red dye is really, and certain things I just didn't know. You know, so I've really been researching certain foods and viewing alternatives, basically. Even with water, I've heard a lot of things about bottled water. That's why I'm reading about alkaline.
You can't escape it. You know, you can't escape it. But, you know, this is something, and I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Mm-hmm. But this is something real simple I like to break down to people. And I like to do it to my kids because they're the best to give that information and let them suck it up. I mean, if you look at most animals and you look at how teeth are designed. If you look at our teeth, they're basically flat. They're not sharp. They're really basically for grinding. Like, see a cow's teeth, they don't have sharp teeth. We ain't really supposed to be eating meat like that, man.
Right.
We're not designed to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not supposed to, that's when if you see a shark has razor sharp teeth. You see what I'm saying? Even dogs got sharp teeth, but we don't have that. And there's a reason why we don't have it. You know, so I just want to drop that jewel on you. It's real simple. You know, you eat you some plant, you know, ain't nothing wrong with going plant-based. I've learned to start enjoying. I miss burgers. I miss those burgers. You know, because a veggie burger, you got to do it right. You know, for it to have that taste. I don't eat beef anymore. I don't eat any beef. I might eat turkey, chicken, whatever makes the dish, but you know what I mean? So
eat more, and I stopped eating pork. I can't say the last time I've had pork. Like, it's been years. I
don't eat pork at all, man. I'm so scared of that. I eat pork right now, I get a headache.
There's a video floating around now. I think it was on TikTok. I think it got taken down. But a person had posted what pigs eat in the factory.
Man,
it was literally trash. Like, nothing but like it looked like a landfill. But that's what the pigs were eating. And that's what, you know, we buy certain things consuming in our bodies. You know, and like I said, just researching alone what's in food will make you view food differently. And you'll realize, like, a lot of us, when I don't know about, we're around the same age. If you can recall, do you recall a lot of people having cancer when we were coming up? That wasn't a common.
No, it wasn't.
It's cancer. And I think the only common denominator really is what we're putting in our bodies.
Yes.
So that's the reason for everyone getting sick. But I'm just saying, like, it's worth doing your individual research on the foods that you eat and considering trying.
Yeah, I seen somebody I grew up with, man. So I've known this guy probably about 30 years. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because in our older age, you know, we talking and now like, yeah, man, you know, I got this high blood pressure. Oh, you too? Yeah, I do too. It's like, you know, our conversations have changed, and the crazy thing is, like, that wasn't a surprise. It's like, yeah, you too, and that's just how it is. If you go to the doctor, you're gonna probably find out. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're black, you're probably gonna find out some things. You know, so you need to really be on top of that. And once you get on top of that, man, you know, from there, it takes a lot of discipline, but you'll be happier, better off knowing. Because another thing, stigma about going to the doctor is people don't really want to know.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And I think I was like that leading up until what happened to me. But listen, this has been a great conversation. I think we might do this again one time. You know what I mean? Maybe I come on your show. Tell the people where they can follow you at, where they can find any information, and give them everything. Give it to them now.
Well, you can find me on Instagram. I have 2 Instagram pages. The first one is the QChat_podcast. My second IG page, which is the main brand page, is I am_Go Queen. And the Go is GEAUX. That's a nod to Louisiana. And you can go to my website and access all those links. Just simply going to www.theqchat.com. And you can learn more. And like I said, you can access all those links and watch my YouTube channel. That's Go Queen TV, GAUX again. But like I said, just head over to www.theqchat.com and you can access everything, the blog, the links, everything.
Yes, you can, because I've been on it. I'll be clicking on it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, good people. Y'all already know I'm going to have all that information in the article for y'all. Until next time, y'all stay up, man. You know how I do. Apex Couture Magazine.